Hi, I'm Parneet Jaggi, and this is going to be the fourth lecture in the series of lectures on T.S.Eliot's The Wasteland. In the previous lecture, we discussed how the first section, the burial of the dead, could be interpreted, and today we're going to take up the second section of The Wasteland, a game of chess. Now, what does the title indicate? A game of chess. A game of chess is a device used by Middleton, John Middleton, in his play Women Beware Women, where this game is played to hide the seduction of a young girl by a nobleman. And in this section, primarily, the poet indicates that the failure of love relationships in the modern world. He also talks about sex perversities both in high and low class societies, which have become a matter of a mechanical routine. So basically this section is a comment on relationships, device used by Middleton, as I mentioned, and the perversion of sex and lack of emotional bonding and understanding that has made our life barren and desolate. Now there are two scenes in this section that involve women. The first section opens with a detailed description of the high-class society women. The scene opens in the drawing room and dressing room of this woman, who is called Cleopatra, which shows her lavish lifestyle but a dissatisfied mind on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And the second scene moves on to a pub in the East End of London, where a working-class woman is in conversation with her friend, which portrays her daily struggle, her lack of beauty, her lack of inner joy and motivation in life. So this would be a brief extraction from the text, not the complete text, and we'll be taking up the thematic concerns. The chair she sat in, like a burnished throne, glowed on the marble, where the glass held up by standards wrought with fruited vines, from which a golden cupidon peeped out. Now this is the description of the lavish setup of this girl of the high society who has been compared to Cleopatra of Shakespeare. And her chair is a royal throne-like structure. She sat in a chair like a burnished throne, which glowed on the marble, where the glass held up by standards wrought with fruited vines. So there are carvings, there are paintings. Golden Cupidon is a picture in which this Cupid is peeping out of the vines. Another hid his eyes behind his wing, double the flames of 7-branched candelabra. Now this room, this beautiful room, also has a beautiful candelabra. That chandelier with 7 candles, 7-branched candelabra, in which there were flames which would be lit during the evenings and nights. And this flame of the candelabra would reflect light, reflecting light upon the table as the glitter of her jewels rose to meet it. From satin cases poured in rich profusion in vials of ivory and coloured glass, unstoppered, lurked her strange synthetic perfumes. Now this light, the flame of the 7-branched candelabra, would reflect on the table, on the dressing table, which has a variety of luxury items, jewels, satin cases, in which there would be kept profusion of perfumes, vials, closed and open bottles of perfumes, unstoppered also, out of which perfumes were lurking. Strange mixture of perfumes could be felt all around the room. So now this is about a wealthy, highly groomed woman who is surrounded by exquisite furnishings. And while in this section, in this part of the section, she is waiting for a lover. It seems as if a lover is about to come, and before the arrival of that person, she goes neurotic. Her neurotic thoughts become frantic and meaningless cries. Her day culminates with plans for an excursion and a game of chess. So now here she has been associated with the illusions of Cleopatra and Dido. And primarily the basic idea behind her character portrayal is the spiritual drought the hollowness, the barrenness of this personality who is a woman, a girl. She's waiting for a lover, but there is no emotional bonding. There is no feeling of love or depth in that love, in that waiting or in that experience of love, or even when the lover comes, we do not see any glow or happiness on their faces, but they have gone so mechanical, so dry, that it is just a part of their routine. Then this allusion, this whole episode has also been compared to a very important allusion, the story of Philomela. Now this Philomela character has been taken from Ovid's Metamorphoses. And this Philomela in that story is a girl who is raped by the king, who is also her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, who after raping her cuts her tongue so that she's not able to speak up. But she manages to tell her sister, Procne, who she embroiders that story and tells it to her sister, who helps her to avenge the sin by murdering the king's son. So this sister of Philomela, she kills her own son and she feeds the meat of that son to her husband, the king. And then eventually, these two sisters are changed into birds. Philomela is changed into a nightingale and the king is turned into a horse. So this is how he visits the past, the mythical background, the historical stories, to prove how comparably true the stories of the past are to the present. Today also, we are undergoing such spiritual drought. Then in the second part of this section, he also takes up the story of a low-class working society woman whose name is Lil and who is sitting with her friend in a pub in East London. So he says, when Lil's husband got demobbed, I said, now Lil's husband is in the army, so when he comes back home from the army, I said, now this I is a friend who is talking to Lil. I said, I didn't mince my words. I said to her myself, hurry up please, it's time. Now Albert's coming back. Now Albert is the husband of Lil. And this Lil is sitting right now with one of her friends in a pub, in a bar, where this barmaid is coming time and again to intrude and interrupt. Hurry up, please, it's time. Now here we have the symbolism and the personification of time. How important time is in our lives. Now Albert is coming back. Make yourself a bit smart. He'll want to know what you've done with that money he gave you to get yourself some teeth. He did, I was there. You gave them all out, Lil, and get a nice set. You have them all out, Lil, and have a nice set. He said, I swear I can't bear to look at you, and no more can't I. I said, and think of poor Albert. Now this Albert is coming back from his army service after several years, and this friend of Lil wants her to get dressed up and to look good. Because after so many years, if Albert is going to come back and look at her in such a pathetic condition where her teeth are wearing off and she's not looking good or pretty, but she's looking ugly. So this friend says, even I can't help looking at you. You look so pathetic, so odd. So it's better you have a set of teeth done for you and you start looking good. Now we have a continuation of this section in the next lines also, but here I'll just brief you with this thematic concern that he is looking into. Now Lil is any married woman who is waiting for her husband. She has children to look after, but she is punished by her body. She is punished by her body because of the several abortions she has gone through, and because of that she has lost her health and she doesn't look good either. Now this friend of her is suggesting that you better look good even if you are going through or suffering something, because looking good is more important than anything else. Now this section has two important, significant indications here. One is the barmaid's refrain. The barmaid is coming time and again to intrude and saying, hurry up please, it's time. Now this is a line of refrain which is appearing time and again, in which it is indicated that time is everything and you have to abide by it. So grow up with time, look after time. Secondly, an important thing here is that towards the last part of the section, They say goodbye time and again. Goodbye, 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 good night. Now this indicates an allusion to Ophelia's suicide speech in the play Hamlet by Shakespeare. So somewhere it is implied, somewhere it has an implication of what is going to happen to these women who are so limited in their own existence that they do not know what to do and where to go. Now this section, rather than following an organized structure of rhyme and meter, it constitutes a loose series of phrases like I said, she said, good night, goodbye, and then barmaid comes time and again with a refrain saying, hurry up please, it's time. So now this is of course highlighting the role of looking good, the role of sex, the hollow relationships in our society. And the whole idea behind this tavern scene is that marriage is no more a religious entity, a holistic entity, but it has now become a very barren and desolate relationship because of the perversion of sex. Now this section, second section, showed us a contrast, a parallelism between past and present also, and between two types of societies in which we live in, the high class society women and the low class society women. So this is how Eliot is presenting his themes through implications. So in the next section, we'll be taking up the third section of this poem, The Wasteland. Thank you for now, and we'll continue.